hopefully is now very clear to you. We have a challenge to move from minimum viable product to minimum viable segment. If you do it right, once you've figured out your minimum viable product and you've got your segment sorted out, then you get a repeatable product. And you know you're onto a winner when you're starting to do that. And in the answer to your question, by the way, what happens is these needs need to line up. If they're over here and over here and over here, you've got your problem occurring again. And you want to be willing to throw these out in order to stay on this. So let's wrap this segment, just because I want to give you enough of a framework that when John comes up, you can see it all fit together. Hopefully you now understand that if we can get this minimum viable segment, we're going to find a way to keep your product footprint and resources focused, and we're going to be able to get people who, with the same needs, will reference each other, and ultimately you'll be able to get a beachhead, a segment that you can dominate that will ultimately be the place that you build off. Now, there is one thing that I've also taught in the value prop class, but I want to cover quickly here, and that is trying to find a segment where it's not just a nice to have need, it's a blatant critical need, especially if in the business to business world. And so I'm going to use an example that I live with every day, because mobile is so hot that I see dozens of mobile startups all the time, and they all come in and say the same thing. Well, there's 1 billion smartphones out there now, and so if I get 2% of that marketplace with this new app, I'm going to have a really successful business at $4.99 an app. Sounds great. Reality is a little different. The reality is there are a lot of people who could potentially use a mobile app. So how do you zero in on a segment that's actually going to have a real pain point and a real critical need? And this is really just designed to give you an example of it. What if you said, instead of anybody with a mobile phone, you said, well, mobile professionals? Well, that's at least perhaps now getting into the business world as opposed to just consumer, but there's a lot of mobile professionals. What if you then said field workers, and those are as opposed to desk workers? And what if you said people who are out in the field servicing goods and products, as opposed to salespeople? Now you're narrowing it down again. What if you then said servicing medical equipment, as opposed to just, for example, fax machines? Well, not fax machines. Geez, I'm dating myself. For example, postal machines. The classic office equipment. And instead of businesses, you said within hospitals. And then you said, let's go one step further, that those machines were being used for critical care. So now we've got all the way down to a place where instead of, for example, doing something that is not mission critical, if these machines are not serviced, somebody dies. Okay, now I think we've got to a critical need. People care about that. So we've actually just taken a path that has got nothing to do with the particular size of the business or particular feature function. What we've done is we've figured out where there is a pain point where you need a mobile professional who can go out in the field and service medical equipment in hospitals for critical care, where if it isn't done, people die. That's what I want you to do when you come and talk to me about building your business. Figure out where is there a blatant critical need that will have such an impact that you just can't live without it. And that's what this segmentation exercise should really be about, is figuring out how to both get those repeatable requirements, but also in an area where people really care about it. Now you've answered that value question that I was talking about as well, which is to say, if you solve this problem, is it valuable? So it's not just a viable product, it's a valuable product. Make sense? See a lot of people nodding.